We welcome you back to the global Zoom meeting. It's been an exciting opportunity to move around, as I have done digitally, to see some of the important conversations that have been held around the globe. So the purpose now of this global Roundup session is for us who have been in a particular open space session to get a sense of what have been the key outcomes from the other sessions. So we are going to move around, and totally, as you know, we have been divided into 8 open space sessions. So we will revisit the different groups, digital groups around the globe. And the first group we will visit will be session 1, Faith in Biodiversity. And I will hand over the word to Danja Bergman, who herself is based in Bonn. And she's... Okay. We are live on YouTube. Excellent. Okay. We are live on YouTube, but we are not yet live in the Zoom meeting, where many of our conference participants are waiting for us. So we ask you, Andrew, you can't see this, someone can write on the Zoom chat that we are going live in the Zoom meeting in 1 minute.
I will write it on the Zoom chat.
And for anyone watching us live stream on YouTube, it's great to have you with us, and we're starting in 1 minute. Okay, we're in. Hi, everyone.
Almost.
Okay, we are back in the global Zoom meeting, and it's been really, really exciting to revisit you digitally and to move around and to see some of the important conversations that have taken place around the globe. Now we are back and we are reassembled to get a sense of the key outcomes from each respective open space session. And we will first revisit session 1, Faith in Biodiversity. And I will hand over the word to Danja Bergman. Herself, she's based in Bonn, but many of our participants have been coming from around the globe. And
what we're going to do in this global roundup is to have one key point or insight from each session, each of the parallel open space sessions, and that's a big challenge to you all. But you've had the fruitful conversations in the groups, and you will take that with you into the rest of the conference. And so, please, can we get one key input outcome from Danja and session 1? Or is there somebody else from session 1 who is eager to... maybe it's just that Bengt needs to unmute somebody.
Yeah. Soon, Danja, we will invite you in, and here we are to invite you, Danja. Danja Bergman, please unmute. Okay, Danja, please unmute. Can be.
All right. Let's see if we can indeed connect with Danja. Might it be that they have not found their way back into the global?
So what we will do is we will move on to session 2 and come back to session 1. So session 2 is framed Eco-Theology. And we have the facilitator for the open space session, Petter Jakobsson, with us. I hand over to you.
Thank you. it seems like we just started a big conversation after the initial input. But what I'd like to share is that we need to make theology contextual. We need to listen to a lot of different people. I think that's basically the summary. Both our own traditions, but also from a lot of different people.
Thank you very much for that concise summary that we'll bring it with us. And
can I just say before we move on, Petter, that I revisited your session, and when I came into it, I heard that you were discussing also regional perspectives on ecotheology, and you had a comparison between a European and an African perspective, and I thought that was really enriching to hear. So I hope that discussion will also be nurtured and come back to the global session later in this conference. Now we move on.
Yes, so the session 3 with the title Introduction to the UNFCCC's Local Communities and Indigenous Peoples Platform. Do we have somebody from that session that can give us one or two insights from what you shared?
Yeah, I was hosting that session. I'm Tiffany from the UNFCCC Secretariat, and I can share
Welcome,
that.
Tiffany. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us and allowing us also to be part of this great practice, this great training. What we can share, I mean, it was quite an in-depth discussion, but basically it was about how indigenous peoples and local communities have a way of living with nature that is often very harmonious and sustainable. And integrating those views into climate change policy and action is critical if we want to be able to meet the goals that countries have committed to. For instance, to get to temperature rise as close to 1.5 degrees as possible below pre-industrial levels. If we want to be on track to meet those commitments, we need to integrate the views and holistic positive values of indigenous peoples into the climate change process. In the discussion, that's the one point. I know we're not only allowed to have one point, but I'll just to say that some of the people also mentioned the need for capacity for engagement, right, between indigenous peoples, local community representatives, and government representatives. And this is a two-way kind of capacity that's needed. So it's not just the capacity of indigenous peoples to engage, but the capacity of governments to engage with them to make climate policy better.
Thank you so much. I see now that we have Danya Bergman with us. So could you give us one of the, like a main point that was discussed, or a main insight that you shared?
From session number 1, Faith in Biodiversity. So the words is yours, Danya.
It's critical if we want to be able to.
Yes, we have you, Danya.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Excellent. So would you give us one main outcome or key point message that was discussed in your session 1, Faith in Biodiversity?
I have to confess that we didn't make it to a broad discussion. Maybe I took a little bit too much time to get into the complexity of the project I was presenting. And I think that is one of the focus points also related to the People and Planet event, that we are in the core of complexity, actually dealing on different levels, like multi-stakeholder, scientific, spiritual, qualities, bringing together under one roof, and with a very sometimes uneven power relations. We have to be very aware of, we are also when we are implementing projects, also on the position of a certain power, and we are aiming towards a certain equality. So it's all about complexity and also diversity, and when we take it positively.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And then we are moving to session number 5, which is entitled creatively Eat, Pray and Love. And I see that Anna Emelin and Johan Järpe, the two facilitators, are eager and ready to share the outcomes of the session. So I hand over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciated to talk to very experienced people, and wish that we could have done that for longer. But if I should say just one short message from our conversation is that faith-based organizations has a very important role to simplify the message of the big change that is needed, the transformation that we need to go through to come in dynamics where we're creating sustainable food systems, because it's both complicated message from science, but it's also changing. I'm moving from being gods to being neighbors. That's disconnecting and starting new relations, and many farmers belong to faith-based communities. Also, many farmers are bad guys in the narrative. Like, it's a lot of blaming on farmers that they've done the bad things to the environment. And also there is a lot of young people who might not think that farming is so cool, but at the same time they want the knowledge to know how to grow food, and they want to contribute meaningfully. So there is an opportunity to bring young people into farming, and it's because it's an aging population.
Thank you. That's a very concrete step as well. So the next one we want to check in with is session number 7, Expressing Shared Values in Faith. Paula Grossman, are you with us?
Use the same.
Yes, excellent, thanks.
Okay. We had very fruitful discussions among us. We discussed some religious principles, ideas, and investigated how it is expressed in the different faiths. And the principles was not to waste. How not to waste? How is that expressed in the faith? And compassion to animals, and to let the land rest. So it will give us sustainability in generations to come. And we discussed this. I will not repeat what we said, but I want to convey to you something that our friend from the Baha'i faith shared with us. Because we are talking that humanity is actually not so old when we think about the planet, and we have been the time now that we have been in existence. It's not so long, and we have come to a certain point of learning only, and now we have to relearn. And our friend Anil said that you can see it as that humanity has come to an adolescent stage, and now we have to enter the grown-up stage. So we have to learn now, we have to relearn. We have shown our strength. That is why we think we are gods, and we are the Anthropocene stage, and now we have to. So it's very exciting. It also gives me hope that, okay, we can now go into a more mature way of acting to be in balance. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you
we
so
will
much.
actually be hearing more of that tomorrow. So
Yes, and now we will move to session 8, which I personally think is one of the most important conversations that was held. It is entitled Digital Conferencing in a New World Era. And the New World Era is referred to due to the current pandemic and the fact that we all need to transform and to move into digital conversations, dialogues, and conferences. So I hand over to Bengt Littorin.
Thank you. I think that we agreed on that. Yeah, is mic on? That we agreed on that what's lacking is not just technology, it's very much knowledge. And we started to share about that, and also looked at what could be problems in that. And one thought that struck me now is that, of course, we didn't reach the goal at this stage. But what I think of is, and I will leave that to Josephine, if we should try to arrange in fairly short time, in the context of this conference, workshop in working with digital meetings, let's say in 2 weeks or something, because it's urgent to get the knowledge out and experience out. And I think I would be able together, at least together with you, to arrange something like that for those who are interested, or at least a few of them who are interested at the time.
Yes, thank you for making that suggestions. And I mean, I can say on behalf of the Swedish International Development Agency that because of the fact that we are working innovatively with digital meetings and conferences, we have received a lot of wishes and requests for a capacity building event in few days to come, or as you said, in 1 or 2 weeks to come, and to offer it as live streaming and participation over Zoom. So we will look into this and we will try our very best to make it happen. And as you suggested, Bengt, I think it's very suitable to use this conference, People and Planet, as a base for such a capacity building event. And then we could potentially extend and open it up to other participants as well. So we'll work on that and we'll be able to confirm as soon as possible.
I think that sounds like a very inspiring initiative and a concrete outcome from this conference as well. I want us to also visit session 6, Speeding Up Sustainability Through Faith. Helena Lindemark, you hosted that session together with esteemed friends. Can you unmute yourself and give us a key message from your session, please? And if not, it seems their image is frozen. Do we have Iyad still online, or have you had to leave? No, you're still there?
So Iyad,
Iyad, would you be able to just give us one key outcome or message from your discussion? Thank you.
Right. So we are, as everybody knows, we are facing a global crisis, whether it is the pandemic, whether it is climate change, whether it is ecosystem destruction, and so on. But also we have great opportunities in 2020 to 2022, 2020 being the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and 2022 being the 50th anniversary of Stockholm and UNEP. The issues that have been discussed is how to mobilize the power of faith-based organizations, faith leaders, and faith communities. And indeed, it is important to partner with faith-based organizations because they have been engaged for many centuries in responding to poverty issues and so on. So the most important part is how to bring them to the decision-making table, how to integrate faith and the environment into the global resolutions and decisions adopted by intergovernmental organizations. Therefore, it is not only initiatives here and there that we can mobilize and holding conferences, but also making them contribute to value and ethical based resolutions that can contribute to solving environmental issues. Certainly, faith organizations have the traditional knowledge of adopting nature-based solutions, which the entire global community now is working on. So working together is the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll continue to come back to that, and we will also make sure that we post on the Padlet platform all the relevant upcoming processes and also meetings, because we had the input earlier today, this morning, earlier today, that the risk with having the single event. We need to indeed like twin together and weave together our efforts. So thank you for that.
So now I will go through some final concluding instructions for the rest of today and for this global open space. And the first I would like to ask is for all of you who have acted as facilitators for an open space session to summarize your key outcomes in a document, upload it in PDF format on the Padlet, so that everyone can also download these PDF files and take action. So what I would like you to do when you formulate your respective summary is to have two sections. One is the key outcomes, and the second is action points. So how can we collectively in People and Planet take action from your outcomes? So outcomes and action points. And you will decide, each of you, if you want to formulate this in 5 sentences or in 1 page. But 1 page is maximum. So no longer than 1 page.
And just as a practical note, where you will post it, you should be able to, in the open space Padlet, to just click below in your column, to click a plus sign below the posts that are already there and add a section where you can paste in text or attach a document.
And if you have questions on how to post your respective reports with outcome and action points, you write your questions on the Zoom chat in this global meeting, and Andrew, our Zoom moderator, will directly give you support over Zoom in the global meeting. Okay, I have some other final instructions. Soon we will be ending the global gathering of today, and we will move into the twinning sessions. So we will be divided in 3 conferences. Before we do that, I want to just stress that for tomorrow's global session, we will once again need the rapporteurs from each country. So whenever you have ended your twinning session and your country session, this afternoon or tonight, remember to appoint the rapporteurs for tomorrow's reporting. And remember also, when you exit this global meeting, that you follow after lunch the instructions to join back into the Zoom meeting for respective twinning session, which will be held after lunch. And for Indonesia, this will be done differently due to time zones. I want to also remind you on our hashtag for social media, People and Planet. It's important that we really influence other actors, stakeholders, and people around us with the messages that are spread in People and Planet event. So make sure that you repost, retweet what are insights. So with those instructions, I would like to thank you all, and in particular, I would like to extend our thanks to you as organizers of the open space sessions. We highly appreciate, as organizer of People and Planet, that you have taken your time to plan, design, and to lead and moderate the open space sessions. So we are excited to see you all back in our last day tomorrow in the global session. And we also wish you best of luck in your respective twinning session this afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again shortly. Bye.